Hey everyone! Alright, as promised, here's my video about numerology in tarot. I will go through the numbers 1 through 10 for this video, and most of what I explain will pertain to the 1 through 10 journey in the Minor Arcana cards. So 1 through 10 of Swords, 1 through 10 of Cups, but also to the 1 through 10 of the Major Arcana. But I'm not going to go into that too much. So this is basically just the energy that the numbers 1 through 10 have in tarot. All right, so let's start with number 1. The ones or aces in tarot are related to raw energy. They're basically a dose of whatever energy the suit represents. For the cups, it would be energy of intuition, emotion, social engagement. For the wands, it would be a dose of willpower and creativity, for example. And this is representative of the whole potential of the suit. Everything that the suit represents in its cards 1 through 10 is contained in the 1. You have the seed basically being planted for the journey of 1 through 10 of that specific suit. So the aces are nothing concrete. They are only opportunities, and they are the beginning of a journey from 1 through 10. The number 2 in the 4 suits represents duality. It represents the beginning of the path that the ace started. So not only does it bring together certain opposites, for example, having you make the decision between 2 or more different opportunities, but it also stands for the preparation that goes into going through the journey. For example, in the 2 of Wands, you have someone looking into the distance between 2 wands and pondering what they're going to do with the energy from the Ace card, for example. It's also a time of gestation. So it's a time of rest. It's a time of thinking about what you want to do with the energy that you have rather than going out and getting it. You're basically trying to bring together opposites within yourself to choose a path that will be the right one for you. The 3s are then the first glimpse of stability. You have made a decision about what you're going to do with the energy, and the 3 stands for a small completion in this journey. You are ready to go out and create something. So you have the basis and the foundation laid, and you are now growing. The 3 mostly stands for growth, because now that you've made the decision, you're ready to engage. The 4s are much more about stability and having achieved what you set out to do in the 3. It's a sense of great stability, but at the same time, stagnation. Take the 4 of coins, for example. That is very related to accumulating money and wealth and blocking everything, all your chakras, so to say, all your receptive particles are blocked because you reached stability and you'd like to stay there. So the 4s are drawing your attention to maybe getting ready to building the next bridge rather than resting where you are right now and falling into stagnation and becoming stuck. So the 4s are all about standstill and possibly avoiding it. Of course, it can also mean something good. If you lay a spread that shows a lot of insecurity, when there's a 4 at the end, it can also be something positive. It means that you've attained a little bit of completion and stability. Now, the 5s stand for the disruption of that stability that was created through the 3 in the 4. So the 5 represents the challenge that now comes up, because stability cannot last forever, even if you try to make it to. and there's always something new that you have to deal with. So the outside stability proves to not be enough for you. That's what the 5 is all about. The 5s are about trials, about tribulations, possibly about crises that may already be in the past, but you still have to deal with them and get to know yourself better and get to know your foundation better. The numbers 1 through 5 are the easier cards to understand, and they represent an outer journey very much of gaining stability and then losing it and having to go into the deeper parts of your psyche to create mental stability. So maybe this is just because I'm into gardening, but I really like comparing the 5s to losing your sprouting leaves. Because I don't know if you know this, but when a plant grows from a seed, it first develops leaves, usually 2 leaves, that look completely different from the rest of the leaves that it's going to grow in its later life cycle. And these 2 leaves, as it starts sprouting more leaves at the top, will fall off. And the 5s kind of represent that to me, that you lose a certain part of yourself maybe and a certain part of your past in order to grow bigger. This may have helped you gain stability, and it may have helped you do photosynthesis, basically, if you're a plant. But at some point, you have to lose them in order to grow more. So the 6 are about renewal in relation to a larger cosmos that you are now a part of. They are about exchanging with others, getting help from others possibly. For example, the 6 of Swords, in which you are carried across a river. And it stands for, even if you have gone through a crisis, that there is help around you and that there's a new way for you to relate to the world outside of yourself. The meanings of the 7s varies quite a bit, but what they all have in common is that it's about deepening your spiritual understanding and deepening the understanding of what you want to achieve. You have kind of learned to handle the outside and have received help from the outside. And now it comes down to the daily grind that, for example, the 7 of discs represents, or the number of opportunities that the 7 of cups represents. So it's a way of not dealing with the outside world in a very immediate way, but more dealing with yourself and reflecting about what you can do better, where you want to go next, basically. And taking a stand, possibly, like the 7 of Wands implies, about what you want and defending what you want to the outside world. So basically, you can handle the outside, now look inside what you really want. So you can kind of see a reflection of the 2 in the 7, because it's about deciding what you're going to do next, how you're going to grow better crops, as the 7 of discs implies, how you're going to continue on your path, as the 7 of cups implies, or what you're going to defend and what you're going to let go, as the 7 of Wands implies. With number 8, we have power and motion. This is a very active card that stands for grasping opportunities and not dwelling on the past. In the 8 of the Cups, you have this beautiful picture of a woman walking away from empty cups, or maybe even full cups, you can't tell, but she walks away from them towards a higher goal, something that she discovered within herself, a pilgrimage she has to take, if you want to say so. And that's really what the 8s are all about, to face your fears and to face your desires and really go after them. Basically building a new ground for a future, going through an energetic metamorphosis and putting what you have learned from 5, 6, and 7 into action. So, of course, even though the 8 has this meaning, it depends on the suit what specifically it's trying to tell you. For example, the Eight of Swords is a very constricted, very limited image that more talks about needing to consider your next step, but also not be afraid to take it and see that you have agency, even if you're unsure about how you should proceed. So either way, it is about power and motion, whether it's about going out and getting it, creating the energy you need, creating the self-confidence you need. That's what the eights are all about. Like, all of the suits relate to that theme of grasping an opportunity and finding agency that the eight is about. The nines in tarot stand for reflection about what worked, what didn't work on the journey that you've gone through, because the journey is almost over. It's time to learn something from it. And basically, it asks you to reflect on the cycles that you might be caught in and to be grateful for what has been given to you, but also for what you yourself have achieved. And depending on the suit, of course, this can be more positive or negative again. The Nine of Swords is very much about dealing with failure or feelings of failure, with past experiences that have scarred you, while the Nine of Cups is more about celebrating what you've achieved. And the Nine of Discs basically going through the garden of your achievements and reflecting on the fruits of your labor versus the regrets that you may have about what you've done. So the nines are the last step before the 10, which is about completion. You are fully equipped by this journey to go the next step, basically. It's an ultimate metamorphosis that you've gone through, and it's the last stage of the learning process of each suit. So the great change that has been given to you in this journey 1 through 10 continues as you reach 10 and as you have reflected on your journey in the card 9. The 10 also stands for an acceptance of what you can and cannot do. So let's say we look at the journey of the wands, which the wands are about willpower and about kind of pushing others away or pushing them down in order to reach what you wanted to reach. And in the 9, we already see this glimpse of reflection, of being alone at the top. And the 10 then shows a woman holding a bunch of wands, and she can barely hold them herself. She's reached a lot, but at the same time, she's all alone at the top. And it makes you wonder, was it really worth it? What mistakes did I make in my journey? And this is the last stage of the learning process of each suit before they continue with the 4 court cards that I will also make a separate video about, of course. So a very important detail, the 10, usually when you have 2 numbers, so 10, 11, 12, or 33, or 112, which would be 3 numbers, in order to understand their meaning, it's not just important to look at the number itself, but to look at the sum of the digits. It's the kind of other side of the coin or mirror image. This is also very important for the 10, because if you have the 10, you have a sense of completion, but at the same time, if you take 1 plus 0, you get 1. So the mirror image of completion is the new energy and the new start of the next journey that starts with the 1 again. So yes, I also have a fun exercise for you related to numbers. If you haven't done this yet, then you will take the sum of all the digits in your birthday. For example, if your birthday is the 4th of February 1990, then you would calculate 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7, plus 9 is 16, plus 9 is 25, plus 0 is still 25. And if you have a number higher than 21 or higher than 22, you just take the sum again. So since we have 25, you would have 2 plus 5, so you get 7. And 7 is your personality card. Yeah, basically taking all of the digits in your birthday and adding them up gives you your personality card. In this case, from the Major Arcana, it would be the Chariot. And yeah, then you have something to identify with, something to think about. How are you related to the Chariot? How is the Chariot related to your personality? And it's just a fun way of exploring yourself. And you can do this with anything. For example, if you have your birthday this year, or when you have it, you could calculate the 4th of February 2018, add all of those numbers together, and then you get your year card. So there's a lot of fun you can have with numerology. I hope it was inspiring, and tell me in the comments what your personality card is. Mine is indeed the Chariot. I hope this video was inspiring to you and helped you understand a little bit more about the meaning of the numbers in tarot. And I wish you all the best on your tarot journey. If you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.